Alright, so it's been quite a while, guys, but I'm back on a semi-decent motherboard and I have an overclocking result. So, been testing this board since Friday of last week. It's the ASRock Z790I Lightning, the ITX overclocking champion of the LGA 1700 socket. So, this would be the board right over here. And we'll just move TestPim5's message out of the way. So, yeah, it's been quite a bumpy ride with this board. Um, a lot of guys on OCN seem to be getting some insane results, and I hadn't been buying hardware for a while because I was not really that into overclocking. Just I kind of got over it. I was a little bit burnt out, and just kind of tired of the idea of chasing frequency and stuff, and I was enjoying playing Counter Strike and stuff, and yeah, it kind of sucks because I feel like I've also let this channel kind of die a bit, and I really wanted to bring some content again to my small amount of viewers. So yeah, I mean, I thought like, you know what, I have some cash, I can probably afford to buy this board. It's not too expensive, and yeah, I mean, I'm selling my old board right now, which compensates me for most of the cost of this board, but it wasn't too expensive. I got it for a pretty fair price. I think when this board came out, it was pretty much unobtainium. It was like, trying to buy a 30 series card in the beginning of 30 series, kind of trying to buy a 790 Apex whiteboard from like, last year when it was like completely gone everywhere for, the regular price and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's already now in September, and Arrow Lake is just about a month away. We've got QDIM coming very soon. I actually have a reviewer in my country who already has QDIM samples. So I'm interested to see what he finds when he uploads his review. But yeah, I figured, I mean, for the end of this platform, might as well just try and see if I can get 8,000 working for once, and yeah. So on this thread, if I can find some results for you guys, I'll show you what other people have been getting with this board. But let's go to page. This should be a bit accurate because I believe this board launched in April worldwide. So some of the early purchases did have samples to use. I think this is the Nova. That's the Nova, yeah, because you can see the purple BIOS is the Nova. I was actually going to buy the Nova initially, but I didn't feel like struggling, so I figured I'll just get the Lightning. Alright, so I know your pain, sir. I know your pain. This I was seeing a lot of this over the last few days, guys. Damn it! Like, wow. So here you can see what they're saying. Now, I'm not a proponent of crazy stress testing either. Like, I'm not someone that says like you have to stress test like a maniac, but I do believe there is a minimum amount of stress testing you want to do just to validate an OC. And to me, something like this is just not really okay. Well, this is not a it's the Nova, but yeah. So even the Nova, you can see he's getting 7600, but I mean, it's not really enough stress if you ask me. But I mean, who am I to say anything? I mean, I'm not the authority on stress testing. So let's see anything else. I know Owik had some good results on Guru 3D's forum. I like this build. So, I mean, yeah, this board, I mean, if you look at the page, it's a very bare bones motherboard, right? So you can see that aesthetics wise, I'll just tell you right now, it doesn't look any better in person. Like in the pictures, it looks pretty cheap, and in person, it looks equally about as cheap. It's a matte black finish. I mean, it's done well enough, but it's not really anything special. I wouldn't even call it, as well done as a basic Gigabyte board. A Yorus Elite has a better looking coating on its heat sinks. This is just very, very like bare bones, very basic. And honestly, I don't know why ASRock did this, because I don't feel like they needed to cut costs this much, because what you lose on this board is you don't get clear CMOS, you don't get a okay now you don't get clear CMOS, but I will say this to you: the odds of you having the clear CMOS, I don't think you'll have the clear CMOS. I'm just gonna say that much. Um, you don't get a flash BIOS button, so I have no idea how BIOS flashing takes place, but whatever. You get a Realtek NIC, which a lot of people seem to have a problem with. A lot of guys on my Discord especially have a problem with the NIC on this board. Um, yeah, I haven't personally tested online games yet on this board, which might sound crazy, but I've been testing a lot, so give me a bit of a break on that. But yeah, so I have no idea how bad the nick is on this board, but apparently it's bad just because it's Realtek. So apparently it's terrible. I don't know, but yeah, the PCB is 8 layers, which Vey says that it's less room for error, which I mean I agree with. And you have a lot of good 8-layer boards. I felt like 8 layers on this board. I mean it's enough, but I mean they could have given us 10 or 12 and just given it more features in my opinion. But whatever. I mean, what do I know? The VRM on this board is freaking insane. Like this 14 power stage V-Core power stage VRM is absolutely insane. Like I don't think you understand. Like I'm literally running Y Cruncher without throttling at the max AVX clock, 5.4, 4.3, 4.6 on my 13RK. Now that might not sound impressive. Keep in mind, I am literally okay. Now ignore this power reading because this is BS. Now I'm sure you guys know. If you guys know from previous videos, I've probably mentioned this before. Anyone that like shows you this power reading and that like has adjusted their own VRM load line and has not matched the DC load line, like there's no way you're getting accurate results. So like this is not true. Like I'm not running 295 watts at 79C. Like this is some custom cooling performance right here. There's no way, impossible. Okay, there's no way I'm doing this in Y Cruncher. It's just not gonna happen. Okay, so what's happening here is because I've augmented the VRM's load line to like, I think I use LLC3. Yeah, I use LLC3 on this board. LLC 3.5 and 2 are okay, but 3 seems to be the best. So I can run my CPU with these settings at 1.3 volts LLC3. I get, now it's going to tell you 1.168 Vmin, so during testing, right? That is not true because it's actually socket sense. Now this board again, it's bare bones as it's bare bones AF. It's really cheaply made, and you don't even get a like a smart VRM sensor. You don't get that. So I'm not sure what VRM controller they use on this board, but it's definitely not the highest end one because you don't get any you don't get any VRV out or any P out or I out or accurate TX reading or VCIO analog, nothing. You don't get any of that. So forget about that. You have to deal with socket sense V-Core right here. And yeah, the socket sense value 1.168 is, now again, I know a lot of my viewers are very technical, so bear with me. It's not exactly, but in my experience, socket sense readings on the LJ1700 socket usually it means around 1.1 die sense. I say on the socket because the socket sense reading, like you're gonna have to deal with the actual resistance of the socket and I guess the PCB as well. I mean, kinda, no. Yes, no, not really. Nah, like the socket mainly, but yeah, socket's resistance is gonna factor in. So if you take a socket sense reading, it's not actually what the CPU receives on the die side. So the die sense value would be around 1.1 ish. From my past experiences with various socket sense motherboards. So 1.1 volts to run this is like literally a full, I would say a full 80 to 100 millivolts less load voltage required than my formula. So this kills the formula. This absolutely slaughters the formula. And it's pretty much like on par with what I found from like a dark. So the dark's regulation was impeccable. And this board is pretty much on par with the dark. So I would say I haven't tried an Encore, but I would say also I've tested a Tachyon. Now I'm not sure how much the Tachyon VRM. I don't believe the Tachyon VRM changed at all from 690 to 790X. So I think honestly, this board probably has like one of the top 5 VRMs on this platform. So in terms of like voltage regulation, yeah, you're gonna be running any chip at pretty much its Vmin like that the silicon has in it. Like this board is going to make the most of any CPU silicon. So even on a trash bin like mine, okay, it's not trash. I've got an SP101. It's not that bad. It's not good. It's not that bad. But yeah, this board probably runs, about as low as you could expect from your chip. It's a really good performer, so that's good. But otherwise, yeah, you don't get clear CMOS. You do get some pins over here in this corner, which you can use. I'm not going to reach them because I have my RAM cooler on it right now, so it's not going to happen. You get some terrible land or whatever, who cares, right? And you get some really, really bad aesthetics. But I mean, otherwise, it's a pretty. I mean, it's not that ugly. Like, it's okay. It's alright. You can deal with it. It's not that bad. Anyway, so this board, like the dock, also doesn't really react to the Intel ME. So, I mean, you can update the ME if you want. I updated my ME. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the performance like it does on MSI boards or Asus boards. So you don't have to worry about mismatched MEs. In fact, this board ships with 2264, which is not the most current ME and doesn't really match the current microcode, but doesn't matter. I updated mine. I don't know if it helped. It might have helped. I don't know. But yeah, mine's updated when this was being tested, and I'm currently using the latest BIOS with the 129 microcode. Even though it doesn't matter for me, I've just stuck to this microcode just because. I mean, maybe it. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't matter too much, I guess. But yeah, and otherwise, there's not much else to tell you on the board side. You get two M.2 slots, so I mean, I think more is nicer, but it's not the end of the world, I guess. As with any other ITX board, be careful which M.2 you put in the slot because it's going to get warm. VRM, I have no idea how efficient the cooling is. It's probably pretty good because, like I said, the board has incredible regulation, so the VRM can't truly be getting that warm, but we don't really have a sensor for it. I did delete some sensors, but I can tell you right now there's no VRM. I mean, there might be a few sensors extra that I've deleted, but those are not VRM sensors. I know that because wait, hold on, maybe I'm wrong. Oh, it's a fan. It's a fan. That's not a temp. It's a fan sensor. It's gonna be. I don't know where it went now. I don't know, but it's a fan sensor. That's the this. Oh, here it is. So that's the VRM fan, which is currently running at like nothing. So whatever. But yeah, so you don't get temp sensor. I have no idea how the VRM runs temperature wise, but it must be running pretty fine. I would say at least. Um, yeah, I mean you get some really cheap, some really cheap antennae over here, but I mean I'm sure it does the job. Yeah, you've got the infamous Phantom Gaming LAN port that yeah, no one seems to like at all. So that's whatever. You get, you know, Nahimic audio. I haven't tested it, so I have no idea if it's good or not. And you get some polychrome RGB sync for your RGB devices. The board has no RGB, obviously, but I mean, whatever, doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah, and if you come to the support page, you can see the QVL, and the QVL will very quickly make it apparent that this board is optimized for MDI. I don't know how many kits exist that are ADI that clock above 8,000, but this board is definitely optimized for MDI, and a lot of the better results on the forum are from MDI users. Oh, here we go. So here's Owick's results. He's got some pretty good MDI results here, as you can see, 2x24. Not stress tested a whole lot. So you only got 3 cycles of absolute, which is, I mean, it's not terrible. It's it's something. Not entirely sure if this would pass VT3 or One Usmus, but I mean, it's 8400 and I can't get 8400, so what can I say? I mean, how can I talk, right? So yeah, Owick is a exceptional RAM tuner, and this is a low voltage with some relatively relaxed timings on an 8400 with his MDI kit, and then he's got a slightly more impressive tightened version of that with some good TRFE, a good TRFC value. He's got some nice primaries, clean OC, pretty nice. And yeah, so this board is very important, guys. The reason why you might want to purchase this motherboard is because it is incredibly consistent. So what does that mean? It means that it took me like a full few days to decide to finally buy this. And part of why I was happy to spend is because I have never seen anyone on this forum say that this board is like defective, doesn't boot, or doesn't do whatever, something dim died. Okay, I just knocked on wood. Not yet. So because I mean the board hasn't been out that long and people haven't had access to it that long, so not yet. But this board is incredibly consistent. Apparently, it's a very consistent sample board. It's like you don't have to worry too much about your sample being terrible or being defective out of the box, or it's from what I've read and seen, I think this is a pretty safe board to purchase and not have to stress too much about how your sample is going to perform out of the box. So that's important because with the Apex Encore, I've seen a lot of Apex Encore samples that are just terrible, and you can look on Amazon too. There are a lot of return samples. You get all these like new boards, and the price might be very attractive on all these like new boards or all these used Apexes that you find online. Do not be fooled, guys. You can very easily purchase an Apex for a ton of money and it just be complete and utter garbage. So be very careful buying Encores, guys. The white Apex is very consistent. The white Apex is what I would recommend if you were going to buy Apex. But yeah, so that's that. Otherwise, I'll show you guys some of my testing. So I got a screenshot tab over here, and as you can see, I've had quite a bit of. So yeah, I'm gonna sort by date so you can see the progress made by date. I'm gonna delete anything. So from the 14th, today is the 18th. So yeah, I've been testing since this 14th date over here, which was 8th. Yeah, there we go. Because I started testing this morning on the Saturday because I finished building my PC at like 4 a.m. in the morning or something. So we can just delete all these crap results from, I don't even know what these would have been from, but whatever. Not important. So we'll go open up screenshots. And as you can see, I actually clocked in a 8000 VT3 run literally within like an hour of testing the board. Now, what was wrong with this run? Now, the first problem is, as you can see, my dim temps are egregious, and that's because I had no RAM cooling at all. I ended up finding a way to mount my RAM cooler that evening. It took a bit of effort, but got it done. So we finally have some respectable temps, as you can see. The max temp we saw in test M5 was 50 degrees, which is not so bad. It's quite manageable. 55 is also okay-ish, but this is only VT3. Test M5 would have had this like 60 man. This would have been like killed in Test M5, and you'll see that in a few more screenshots that I'll show you. But timings wise, a little bit tighter than the current primaries we have right now. T-RAS, sorry, was scuffed. I have no idea what I was thinking. TRD SG, which is the long, was 8. I think that 12 is a more sensible value. And from the timing math that I ended up picking up when I was on my Ryzen tuning journey, and a lot of Vay's recommendations, I started adopting 12 on the long timing. So I decided to ditch 8 because, I mean, I don't know if it really helped it. I mean, I guess it did, but yeah. TRTP set via TRT pre, so it's accurate 12. TWR 24 right here, which is actually more like 21 in the BIOS, but I was setting it via TWR pre. I'm currently using the TWR registry in BIOS now, and I'm getting 48, which is 51 in memtweak it, but it's 48 in BIOS, and actually it's 48, so this is 48. T-Refi was very low just because I was dealing with temperature problems, so that was why I had this so low. T4 doesn't change, and TRFC we again are using 480. If you want to see my per bank, it is 400, which is 100 nanoseconds on 8,000 megatransfers. So very nice tight TRFCs. These ICs can handle tight TRFC. I've been using 100 nanoseconds on same bank and 120 nanoseconds on TRFC2 for quite a while now, since my formula, since I've had these sticks. These are pretty good sticks for what they are. They're not exceptional binned ADI, but they're okay. They're not like as bad as some terrible bins, but they're not like amazing. TCK 14, I have no idea why it was so high. I didn't know what I was trying to achieve, but whatever. That was 14, so that's now at 6, which is a more respectable value. We don't change the RDRDs or WRWRs. Or the RDWRs, those are all pretty much the same all the time, unless you have to go to MDI, which is going to take like 22s, which is terrible, but whatever. Probably doesn't matter all that much, but yeah, MDI is just terrible for timings, and that's why I don't like MDI. 24 gigabit MDI. And then for our WRODs, which are gonna determine our WTR SNL, we have 6448, which actually leads to 24 long and 8 short. And yeah, that's what I would recommend just in general for DDR5 use. I think it scales well from 6000 up to 8000 is 24.8, and 24.8 you have to make sure that your motherboard's BIOS registry, the way it calculates that value, you have to make sure that however you type in your WRRDs and in conjunction with your TCWL, TWC, what the hell is this? TCWL, cache write latency. Whatever the cache write latency value is going to affect your eventual WTR value, and just make sure your calculations work out correctly because you want 824 because that just works with 12.8 for whatever reason. I mean, I can explain the math, but I don't remember it, and it doesn't matter all too much. But just know that 24.8 is what you want on the WTRs. You can try 618 if you want, but then you have to lower some of the other timings as well, and whatever. It doesn't matter. But anyway, so that works. And yeah, then I was using similar SA value. So as you can see, 1.275 is what my chip needs for 8000 on this motherboard. These power limits aren't realistic because, again, I'm actually drawing a lot less power because of the incorrect DC load line. I have to limit them higher because the power draw reading is going to go higher, and I have to limit it higher just to make sure it compensates. But actually, I mean, you can see the temps, they're not getting very high, so you know that this is not really, I'm not really drawing 300 watts, guys. I'm drawing more like 270 watts if I had to take a wild guess what the accurate value is. Maybe even as low as 250. So, well, because I mean, I'm a 1.11 volt-ish dye sense. What would be 1.1-ish dye sense if this board had a dye sense reading. So yeah, I would probably actually be drawing about 250 watts, 260 watts, and yeah, that would make sense of why I'm also getting such reasonable max temps. But yeah, so TX value for me for my CPU. Yeah, I've said before in the past, this is not a good value. It isn't a good value. It's really high. 1.4 is about what I need to run 7800 and 8000. The Lightning has very well optimized BIOS settings, meaning that if you run auto settings, you're actually going to be pretty fine. Your auto settings are going to be pretty close to what you're going to run for actual stability. So my auto settings are 1.4, 1.4 on VDD2 right here and TX VDDQ over here. So 1.4, 1.4 for both at auto for 8000 and for 7800, and it is kind of the correct value. I've tested less, I've tested more, and it's not going to happen. SA, my 7800 OC needs 1.25 volts of SA. This needs 1.275 for 8000. And yeah, so these voltages actually didn't change too much. Funnily enough, it was a lot of just finding the right combinations of things. So as you can see, right, I'm at 36, 48, 48, and my VDD and VDDQ are crazy low, like all the way at 1.425. And this was not running. This was good in VD3, and this went to TM5 immediately errors because this is way too low for the actual dim signaling on the dim voltage side. So this is not enough voltage for powering the ICs for these settings. So at least not with my MC. So I had to rework everything. And as you can see, I kept testing and kept testing. And if I can, I don't know if I can. There we go. So then I tried some other settings. They're not that dissimilar. They're relatively similar. And I pass TM5. I go back to Y Cruncher and I fail immediately. And I'm still at relatively low 1.45 volts set on the dim voltages, somewhat similar-ish. This is a bit lower. I'm just trying different things. I'm trying. I'm seeing. I'm failing. I'm trying. I'm failing. There's another pass. 60 minutes. Oh, this is 700. Never mind. This is complete pass. What the hell? What's this doing here? Anyway. Oh yeah, but I passed Man, I passed 7800 with PCB Destroyer, One Asmus. I mean, this is easy. Like 7800 just passes. It like never fails. I mean, once I got my voltages to where they need to be for this data rate, like it's passing easy peasy. Anywhere between 1.425 and 1.45 it runs. I can scale the voltage for lower timings. Like I lower TRFC, scale the voltage, it still passes. Like so, 7800 is very very easy on this board, even with 8i. And honestly, like most people don't need more than. I mean, no one really needs more than 7800. I mean, this is really like insanely fast if you think about it. But yeah, so another 7800 pass. This was. Wow, I really scuffed up these. I really messed up with. Oh, this is a. Oh, I think I took a new screenshot for this. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. What? There we go. This one. Yeah, some more 700 testing. On Asmus this time. Like I told you, 700 is easy on this board. It's easy peasy. Like it just keeps passing. This was more 700. So this is my current 7800 config. So this is 468 TRFC, which is again 120 nanoseconds and very similar timings. If you can look at the timings, they're actually very similar that I'm using at 7800, which is a good sign because you want to have like close scalability. You don't want to have your timings drifting too much between like 78 and 8000, because if that happens, it usually means that you have some level of voltage, like there's a lack of compensation somewhere, and it's passing temporarily for like the fact that you're skying some timings and it's working for now. But it's better if you can scale the timings. Like if you can scale the timings, it's much better for like if you want to promise yourself like long-term stability. So it's always a good sign when you can scale timings. So I would say the fact that I'm pretty close is actually a really really good sign. So obviously I'm at 480 because it's 8000, but yeah. So otherwise, pretty much everything is the same except for the TRCD and the TRP values, and TRAS is slightly higher and TRC is a little bit higher. So TRC is 5 ticks higher. Otherwise, very similar timings to my 8000 config that I've got now. But yeah, if you want to see more fails, I think I took. Here's a good example of 8000 failing with TM5, and as you can see, I'm at pretty similar voltages, so I was pretty close here, but these values were just a bit too tight, and increasing these is what actually fixed the OC. So increasing my TRCD, increasing my TRP, and increasing TRAS by a tiny bit, and TRC as a subsequent result. And otherwise, everything else is the same, but yeah, just like one error very late into TM5, and it turned out it was just the timings, some of the primary timings. This was a pass with 8000 on One Asmus with slightly tighter timings, slightly changed values, like 1.45, 1.45 on these, but didn't help for VT3 because VT3 just immediately like didn't like these at 1.45. So as you can see, here's a good example of me failing VT3 because of the TX and the VT2 being too high. So got some distortion here. Very nice. Here's 8000 passing VT3 with, again, this is same timings. Oh, I'm lying. This is my current result. I just took a screenshot in case I failed. In case I was gonna fail, I could have it like just so I knew that I got it stable with these timings. But yeah, whatever. This is actually my current config. And why did that stop just there? I want to get more pictures. I don't know, but anyway, so yeah. Okay, but yeah. Anyway, so I guess it was a oh, one more important thing. The thing that actually got me to pass my 8000 was also the ODTs. Or more accurately, not the ODTs, but the RTTs, the RTT ODTs. So RTWR, nom read, nom write, park and park DQS. Back to the magical 34, 48, 48, 40, 34 combination. I don't know, man. Something about that combination just makes it easier to run any DDR5 chips on any motherboard that I've tested, except for Asus boards. But on Gigabyte boards, on MSI boards, on ASRock, on EVGA, AMD, Intel, doesn't matter. M die, A die, 24. It doesn't matter what IC you're using. Except I haven't tested Samsung, but any Hynix IC, I'm telling you right now, if you want to have like a chance to pass something decent and you want to have it be like reasonably easy, those RTT values just make it a lot easier for most people, I would say. Like if those RTT values, fine tuning voltages is so much easier. Now, it does mean that you end up with a different path to stability. So your voltages might look a little bit higher than someone else that might have different RTT values that, maybe they can run certain rails lower, whatever. But I'm telling you right now, for signal integrity on DDR5, those RTT values make everything just so much easier. So they really helped. And changing those RTT values and then being able to work around those values and restructure my OC just a little bit was able to get me over the line. And so that's the Lightning. I would say, buy one. Look, I mean, Arrow Lake is apparently like Arrow Lake, like it's about like plus 10%. So, but in terms of actual like pricing, the average 3900K on the used market right now, again, used market, but used market is fine as long as you can trust someone who's selling it to you. Used market pricing about like maybe, I want to say $300. Like $300 used, maybe you can get it on a deal at some place for like $300, whatever. Like around $300, and the cool Ultra 285K. This thing is going to be expensive, man. Like 650. So you're talking like, I mean, my chip is even worth about this much in my country. In my country, in my country it's worth about $400 because it's going to be 400 times. In South Africa, it's worth about in South Africa it's about $400, but in America it's about $300. So the 285K is 650 in America, and where I live, man, like it's going to be 14 grand. So dude, it's going to literally be double my chips pricing. But literally in America, same thing. Like we're talking about like, dude, if you can get a used i9, man, like dude, like 2.16 times the price of a used i9 3900K, man. You're telling me you're going to be paying like more than double for 10% FPS? Like, come on, man, that's crazy. Like 10% FPS? No, not even. That's 10% multi-threading in like applications. In FPS wise, because there's no hyper-threading, dude, it actually might not even win. Like in games, it actually might not win. I'm not sure if it will, but it's very possible it just might not win in games, which is crazy to think. And you're paying more for it? No way. I would say, guys, in my honest opinion, like if you want my opinion, if you're on a 3900K or you're on a 1200K or you're on a 1400K or whatever you're on, do not sell your chip secondhand. You're going to get destroyed because everyone's scared of Intel chips because they're all stupid. So, like, everyone's scared of Intel chips these days because of all the dumb media around it, whatever. Anyway, you're on my channel. We're not afraid of Intel chips, but yeah, everyone's afraid of Intel chips in the mass market, and that means the use value is stupid low. It's like you get completely like destroyed on the used market for your chip. Buy a Lightning for like 250 on Amazon, and just kill your RAM overclock. Just get whatever. It doesn't matter what RAM you have. If you have 16 gigabit M die, 16A die, 24 M die, whatever, it doesn't matter. This board will max it out. This board is consistent. There's not many magical faulty samples. I haven't seen any of them. This board is consistent. You can trust this board. You can buy one and just trust that you're going to get like maximum performance, minimum VCore. The board is ugly as hell. There's no features. Arguably from a value standpoint, it's a terrible value because they've given you like nothing except just this tiny ITX board with nothing besides decent trace layout, like a decent trace layout, and that's all you get. But whatever, it's a good trace layout. It's a crazy VRM efficiency wise. So yeah, just buy it. Like it's good. It's good. Trust me, it's good. It's actually really good. But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this. It's my style review. It's like my way of doing a review. But yeah, my review quotation marks of this board. But yeah, guys, buy a Lightning. Chuck your old board because this board is like just crazy. and probably get M die if you want to buy this board because yeah, I mean A die you can do nice timings, but I think if I could get M die, I could be at 8400 no problem, and then you probably are just winning. So I might get M die depending. I'm actually waiting to see if QDIM supports our older motherboards. If QDIM supports older motherboards, then I can probably do 9000 on this board pretty easily. But if QDIM doesn't, then I'm getting M die and I'm just gonna do some M die stuff with you for you guys, and then we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this video, I'm gonna dip out now. Cheers.